Alright, now we are on our next lesson. I changed what I just did in previous video that I give you a little bit better explanation what we have to do right now. Like you see, our function here is defined with print inside, where we will print some statement which we will get collecting input data from user and so on, what I explained already in previous video. But as you can notice here, we have yellow line under this variable, and it say like this: function meter to centimeter does not return anything, of course, because it print value. But if we want to store that value inside a variable properly, we need to change this print function to return. So we will simply place return here, and we see another error here, another warning. Error is with red color, warning is with yellow color. That means it will work, but it can be done better. So what we have here, we have redundant parentheses. That means we have to remove these brackets and make space here because that was red, to get this to be done and written now in proper Python code. So what will happen now when we run this function? Which size in meters you want to convert in centimeters? 15. It's 1500 centimeters. Again, when we put minus 15, what we will get? Minus 1500 centimeters. But like I said already, we want now to filter results given with input we don't want to allow to use. So what that means? We want to prevent user to give us through input function 0 or negative values. Okay, that's our goal right now. So how are we going to do that? We will do that using if else conditional statements. This is something new what we are going to learn today in this lesson. So I will show you what we will do right now and how to use if else statement. So we have our function defined here, and we know that this is the most basic function what we build so far. So it means one line of execution code. But of course, one function can have many lines which can be done and execute inside function, combining other functions inside variables, statements, so on. So let's make this function to be a little bit more smart, and let's start to filter input what we don't want. We will start to filter condition like this. If. So let's start with if. If what? Number of meters. So num of meters is greater than 0. And then we put like this, then. It means then. And you see this red color here. That means that this line should be moved one tab in the right. This is called indentation. So in Python, everything what it's written inside some statement, condition, function, and it's related to that condition, that function, so on, in a line below, should be indented, that we understand it's in correlation with previous line. So if I put this like it was before, this function won't work. You see? So if I make indentation in the right, if I tab it in the right once, and then I run it, it will work regularly, because like this, Python understand that this if else conditional statement is something related to this return value. Okay? So we can now test our function. We can test with number 5, and we get correct result. Sorry. Then we can test with number 0 and we get nothing. Okay? We can test with minus 12, we get nothing. Why? Because so far we define only that our function return us value only when we enter number we allow, positive number. Okay, so what we're missing here is statement, condition. So conditional statement related back to if. So that means in new line, and you see here, I'm not sure if you see this line here, that means in this line we will write else. So that means when you run this if conditional statement and you get some value which does not require desired condition, so if it's something what it's not positive number in this case, then go and run what it's written under else. Okay, and here we will return, let's say, we will return, please enter positive numbers only. And like this, we just closed our if else conditional statement. Let's run it. Okay, we have syntax because else also need to have colons in the end, sorry. And we put number 15, which is positive. We put number 0 and get what is defined in else statement with negative number 15. But look this, we text, we get error. So that means so far we filter only integer values. And for this for this lesson I will put focus only in filtering integers value. But before we continue with next chapter, I want to explain you some new things what we just learned today. First, let's put once again summary of what we learned about if else statement. So when you define function and want to filter values what you provide through input, you define here very simple that if this parameter of function, number of meters, is greater than 0, and that means it's positive. If it's positive, then you will return this what we have as basic function, return function defined in our start condition of this function. If it's anything else, 0 or negative value, then we will, from else conditional state, return that entered number is not positive number, and this function will break. And now let's put explanation and focus on something else. We use new symbol here that means greater than, and this is called comparison operator. In Python, as we defined previously met functions, we also have something what is called comparison operator, and this is not the only one. Let me just make short explanation. You have this, what it means, equal to. So that means if we compare two things and comparing left and right side, they are both are equal. And opposite from this is not equal. Of course, you don't need to put any, when you put this comparison operators in your function, you don't need to put anything with text. I'm just writing it here that you understand. And then we have what we just use. It means greater than. And like you see, if this parameter of function is greater than 0, that means if it's a positive number, then something will happen. And we also have less than. And we have combination of greater and equal. And that means greater than or equal to. And similar similar like this. Okay, similar like this. We also have less than or equal to. And this is something what we will always use when we will work with Python functions or with if-else statements or any other functions we are just going to learn in this tutorial. But for now, this is something new, and I just want to explain you how regular it's called in Python programming language and for what it's used. So in this case, we just use greater than 0. But we also should define what will happen, for example, if enter number is 0, that provided value will be 0, and this is something what we don't want. And we also need to filter what will happen if somebody puts some, for example, character we don't allow or text. So this is also something what we need to filter. And this is something what we are going to do in our next video. So see you there.